Well, good afternoon, Joy. Thank you so much for joining me. What we really want to do today is talk about how real estate has impacted your life, your business. What would you share with an agent new to the business if they were coming in? Those are the kinds of things we want to just talk about and touch on today.
Great.
So let me ask you, what made you decide to first get started in real estate?
Probably would be my great-grandfather, because my great-grandfather was in the business. My grandfathers and my grandmother were both in the business, as well as my mom and some of my aunts and my uncles. So it was just a natural segue for me. It was something I was born and raised in, something I love doing, so I decided to do it.
So a lot of good tips and tricks you learned along the way from just watching as you grew up.
Exactly. I learned a lot of different things with them, from paying attention to clients, paying attention to their needs, the details of those needs. It's highly important, but a lot of agents don't think about those things. They think about, what do I need to do today? What house do I have to show today? Instead of thinking about the overall picture of what it takes to really be an agent, to follow through with clients, to keep in touch with clients. People lose clients because they don't keep in touch. I was able to see relationships build and continue to build over the years. That clients of my grandparents were still their clients after 30 years. And I'm fortunate, after 31 years, I still have clients that I met in my first year of real estate.
It almost sounds like your vision for your company is customers for life.
Exactly. It's customers for life. We might be a small boutique company, but we're quite powerful as a small boutique company.
So tell me a little bit about your company, because you were mentioning the marketplace that you serve. Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
It's a very interesting, diverse market. It's an international market as well as a local market. I deal in an area that's surrounded by Port Everglades. We're known as the Venice of America. We have several people from around the world who buy mega yachts. And these yachts that they buy need a port home. And I find them the home for their port.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I find them homes for their boats. I make relationships with them, and those relationships spread across the globe.
Now you were talking, speaking of relationship building, we were talking about how critical that is to your business. And you were mentioning a trade show that you'll visit in order to start building relationships with those people.
Exactly. I visit several of them, actually. I go to the Sea Trade Show, which is a show that used to be in Miami and fortunately is in Fort Lauderdale this year at the Convention Center, which is 1 block from my office, 2 blocks from my house. Owners, yacht builders, marine management, as well as the big cruise ships in the world today that we know. Those cruise companies, the management of the cruise companies, all attend this show. You're talking about people who bring in thousands and thousands and thousands of passengers. Fort Lauderdale held the record last month for the largest passengers through our ports.
Wow.
With myself being poised in that neighborhood, in that area, those cruise passengers, how many of them know the name Century 21? All of them. So my location is prime. Mm-hmm. And my agency is prepped and ready to help them because we're right there. The Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, it's the largest international boat show in the world. I've been networking that show since I'm 18 years old. Sold my first $2 million house from that show at the age of 20. Because those people are buying big boats. People from around the world come to see the boats, mm-hmm. see what they have to offer. So we get to know them, we get to know the boat builders, we get to know the boat clients. So we keep in touch with them. Mm-hmm. And that way we let them know when their people are buying boats and they want to keep them in Fort Lauderdale because it's easy access to the Caribbean, mm-hmm. and to all the outer islands, we're the place to keep their boats. So we sell them the homes, they put their boats, and they either live in the home and use it as a vacation rental, or it becomes their second home. And eventually it will become their primary.
Now, one of the things you mentioned was that what made it easy for you is the recognition of the brand. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more. What does that mean in your business? What do you hear from people coming from abroad about the Century 21 brand?
That they recognize it. They know who it is. And they'll walk into my office and say, oh, you're Century 21. Are you part of the Century 21? Because I'm a little different than most Century 21 offices. I'm Fine Homes and Estates. So not everyone recognizes that logo as much as they do the Century 21 traditional logo that most people are used to seeing. However, I can promise you that's going to change in the future.
Great. And you were also talking about, when we're talking about relationship building, There's some tools and systems. Are you leveraging any of those from the Century 21 platform to help you keep in touch with everyone?
Absolutely. We leverage everything we can from the Century 21 brand because it's an amazing resource. It's the largest global brand in the world, and how lucky am I to be affiliated with it and to have those resources at the touch of my fingers. Not everything fits for every buyer or every seller, but there's enough tools and resources that I can utilize to customize them so they do fit.
One of the questions I really like to ask, knowing what you know now, from all your experience dealing with the different markets, if you had to give one piece of advice to yourself starting out as a new agent, what would you go back and tell yourself?
Enjoy the ride. I enjoy what I do. I love what I do, and I wouldn't change anything that I've done. I was fortunate to start out in this business at 18 years old, and now I'm 49. I am part of the largest brand in the world. I own my own brokerage. I write my own ticket, so I wouldn't change anything because life is full of lessons.
So you've got quite a diverse background, and you're tapping into a lot of different types of markets that a lot of us don't always get to be involved in. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
I see myself as the #1 fine homes and estates office that Century 21 has ever made.
Excellent.
So thank you
But
very
thank
much.
you. You were
You're very, very
amazing.
welcome.